Toyota appears to be building a V8 twin-turbo rear-wheel drive supercar. No, I'm not joking. The same company that makes the Camry is preparing one of the most exciting performance cars of the decade. This is what enthusiasts are already calling the GR GT, and everything we're seeing points to pure Japanese madness. Why this car exists? Let's set the scene. For years, Toyota and Lexus haven't really had a true exotic halo car fighting in this space since the LFA. Yes, we've had the GR Supra, the GR Yaris, the GR Corolla, the LC 500, all genuinely great enthusiast cars, but none of them were playing in the same arena as Ferrari, Porsche, and Mercedes when it comes to outright exotic flagship. This is what we're capable of halo machinery. That gap has been real, and it's been felt. The last time Japan truly swung for the fences at that level was the Lexus LFA, a naturally aspirated V10 masterpiece, carbon chassis, Yamaha-tuned engine, hand-built, 500 cars only. Toyota even developed proprietary carbon fiber weaving machines specifically because outsourcing production was too slow. That car became a legend. And then silence. For over a decade, nothing at that level came close, until now. Toyota's Gazoo Racing division, the same people behind the GR86, the GR Supra, and multiple Le Mans victories, has been developing what looks like a proper GT Halo car. And from everything we've seen so far, they haven't held back. What's particularly exciting is that unlike the LFA's 500 unit run, Toyota is widely expected to put this into meaningful production, meaning if you've got the money, you may actually be able to buy one. We'll get to the rumored price later, and yes, it is a lot, but in context, it might actually be a bargain. So let's get into it. What exactly is this car? What's likely under the bonnet? And why does it matter so much to anyone who cares about real drivers' cars? The design, what you see. First impressions. This is a long, low, wide-hipped GT machine with a cab rearward stance that means business from every angle. It appears to be front mid-engine with a bonnet so long it almost looks American. Think Dodge Viper energy, but more sculpted, more deliberate, and with far better manners. There are clear shades of the old LFA if you know where to look. The flying buttress shapes along the rear quarters, the triangular venting on the bonnet, the overall sense that every surface is doing aerodynamic work. Up front, you've got massive openings for cooling. There's a prominent hood scoop that appears designed to extract heat and manage airflow over the body. As you move down the side, the car sits incredibly low, just above knee height. Large air outlets ahead of the wheels keep airflow clean and turbulence minimal. At the rear, you get a ducktail spoiler and what appear to be quad exhaust outlets sitting in their own sculptural pods. And here's something interesting. At least visually, Toyota seems focused more on passive aero than the active systems we're seeing elsewhere right now. No hydraulic wings flapping around, no adaptive elements hunting for downforce. If that philosophy carries through to the production car, it would be a deliberately old school move in 2025 when everyone else is bolting on as much technology as they can. But it's exactly the kind of call that makes enthusiasts sit up and pay attention. The powertrain, the good stuff. Right, here's where it gets seriously interesting. Under that enormous bonnet is expected to sit a twin turbocharged V8, likely a new unit developed specifically for this application. Rumors suggest output could land somewhere north of 600 horsepower with torque figures to match, which would put it firmly in the conversation with the Porsche 911 Turbo S, the Ferrari Roma, and the Mercedes AMG GT. The turbos are believed to sit in a hot V configuration tucked between the cylinder banks, which keeps the overall package compact and helps with that critical low center of gravity. Now here's where the engineering approach gets clever. Based on what's been reported, there are strong indications of a mild hybrid element, not for efficiency, not for emissions optics, but purely for performance. The idea being that a small electric motor fills the torque gap during gear changes, so every shift at the limit is seamless and every corner exit is clean. That is pure motorsport logic applied to a road car, and it's the same thinking that's made hybrid systems genuinely exciting in racing applications. Some reports suggest Toyota is targeting a weight distribution of around 45 front, 55 rear, nearly neutral with a slight rear bias. For context, The Porsche 911 GT3 runs approximately 38 front, 62 rear. Toyota appears to be aiming for a more neutral balance, which should in theory make the car more approachable and more controllable across a wider range of drivers and conditions. On weight, reports have suggested a target somewhere in the region of 3,300 pounds, which for a modern car with full safety equipment would be a genuinely impressive achievement. Performance specifics haven't been officially confirmed, but expectations of a sub-4 second 0 to 60 and a top speed approaching 200 miles per hour seem realistic given what we know about the platform. And look, if you're enjoying this breakdown and you want more content on the best performance cars coming out of Japan, hit that like button right now and subscribe if you haven't already. We cover this stuff obsessively and there's a lot more coming. Now back to the car. The interior, what we expect. Based on the GT3 concept that's been shown publicly and Toyota's stated driver-focused philosophy, here's what the production interior is expected to prioritize. Low-mounted bucket seats, putting you in a position where you're staring out across a vast flat plane of bonnet, front wheels feeling like they're miles ahead of you. A small, flat-bottom steering wheel with drive mode controls mounted directly on it. A focused digital instrument cluster with shift lights positioned front and center in your eyeline. Physical buttons for key functions rather than burying everything in a touchscreen. Critical when you're driving hard and need to change something without fumbling on glass. The overall philosophy Toyota has communicated is driver first. Simplicity where possible, complication only where it genuinely adds something. If they execute that interior vision the way they've described it, this will feel nothing like sitting in a Lexus LC or a Mercedes SL. It should feel closer to a GT3 car that someone remembered to make legal for the road. The GT3 racing version. Toyota didn't stop at one car. They have already publicly shown the GR GT3 concept, a GT3 racing direction designed around FIA regulations and widely expected to compete in top-level endurance racing and widely expected to succeed Lexus's GT3 program. Without a livery on it, this thing looks absolutely ferocious. It shares the same core structural direction as the road car, but is built to full race specification, a massive front splitter, huge gooseneck rear wing spanning the full width of the car, side exhaust pipes, center lock wheels, and front vents large enough to lose your hand in. It's everything the road car isn't in terms of visual aggression and everything it is in terms of intent. Hearing this thing on track in full race trim is going to be an event. And if Gazoo Racing's history tells us anything, it will be very, very fast. The bigger picture. Here's what makes this whole story genuinely exciting for anyone who follows Japanese performance cars. This isn't just a new car, it's a statement of intent from Toyota. Rumored pricing has been floated around the $225,000 mark, though nothing is confirmed. If that figure proves accurate, it puts this squarely against a Ferrari Roma, a McLaren GTS, or a Porsche 911 Turbo S, cars that occupy roughly the same emotional and financial space. And here's the argument that will resonate with anyone who's ever paid a dealer bill on a European exotic. This is a Toyota. The reliability reputation alone changes the ownership equation at this price point. When you spend $250,000 on a performance car, the last thing you want is to spend half of it keeping the thing running, and this car isn't the only story here. Lexus is strongly believed to be developing an electrified halo car, what many enthusiasts view as an electric spiritual successor to the LFA, reportedly built on a shared platform with this GT project and targeting serious power figures. From what's been shown, it looks spectacular. More sculpted, more futuristic, with a more sophisticated interior, aimed at a different kind of buyer entirely. Two completely different interpretations of the same idea, one for the purists, one for the future. Toyota as a company is swinging big right now. A twin-turbo V8 halo car for the drivers, a GT3 concept for the tracks, and what could be an electric LFA Air for the dreamers. After a decade without a true exotic in the lineup, Japan is making itself heard again, loudly. If the GR GT delivers on even half of what's been shown and reported, it won't necessarily be the fastest car at this price. It may not be the most powerful or the most technologically complex, but it could be exactly what the performance car world has been missing. A focused, driver-first machine from a manufacturer with an unmatched reputation for building cars that last. That combination at this level is genuinely rare, and that is pure Japanese madness. If you want more breakdowns like this, new JDM metal, track comparisons, and the cars that actually matter, subscribe and hit the bell. Drop a comment below. Would you take the GR GT, or are you waiting for the electric LFA? I want to know. See you in the next one.